I like to contact other wholesalers. People think, well, this wholesaling business, I have to do it myself. And I'll give you some examples. So if you're thinking of doing it yourself and you're in Santa Barbara, you're thinking, how can I wholesale a house here? I looked at the map, I looked at the prices you guys have. Your houses are about $500,000 at the lowest. And maybe condos are, $300,000, $350,000. It's a little difficult to put cash in and do a flip on those. So I would look at markets that you can drive to because it's better than getting on a plane. You can drive to Lancaster, Palmdale. You can drive to Bakersfield, and I'll show you a couple examples of what the prices are like there. They're less than $100 a square foot right now, and a lot of houses there are between $50,000 and $100,000. So they make good flips, they make good rentals, they make good wholesales. I like to have 3 exit strategies. I might want to flip that house, but I always want to know that I could rent it and keep it. And it wouldn't hurt me because the cash flow would still be there. So flipping it, just wholesaling it, and I didn't clarify that. Flipping it to wholesale someone else or rehabbing it or renting it out. So in that, those price ranges, those don't work here. Because if you get stuck with it here, you're just going down because you can't afford it. Here's some examples of the wholesaling that I've been doing recently. I've been investing in Michigan since 2004 or 5. I think I bought the first one there. And so now I have a team of a real estate agent, an attorney, property managers, contractors. So these are some examples of houses that they found an investor wanted to get out of. They wanted their cash out to do something else with. And I knew buyers in San Diego who wanted cash flow that they couldn't get here. So these are cash deals. They put in $25K to buy this house. The rent is $800. That's just a regular renter. She's a nurse locally. And I made a $1,500 assignment fee for that. They found the house. And my buyer, so I put it under contract, and then I assigned the contract. It's just a 1-page contract and a 1-page assignment. Okay, and here's 2 more. And really, I've never seen these houses. I actually know where they are on a map because I own 2 houses within a few blocks of these houses. So it's a suburb of Detroit, and it's an area where my property manager and my real estate agent know every street by the back of their hand. And so I knew the areas. These were both sold to the same buyer. They were $21K each, and one rents for $825, Section 8. The Section 8 rents are a little bit higher, and the other one is Section 8 as well. And the assignments were $2,200 each, and I split that with my agent there who had found the properties yesterday.
Are you saying that Section 8 is actually higher than the going standard rent in the area? Wow.
Yeah, the section, sometimes you even get maybe $700 as rent and $800 from Section 8. Section 8 is just set their prices higher, and the individuals just aren't willing to pay that much, and there's enough inventory that they don't have to.
Number of Section 8.
What I really encourage people to do is get in a market and really know what's going on and be talking to people on a daily basis, because I find out things that I just would never know unless I was talking to real people on the ground. So in these, I talked to my property manager the other day, and by the way, he's the city inspector. So he has a part-time job inspecting for the city. He carries a gun, because that's part of his job. So when he goes to collect the rent, I really don't question whether they should hand him a check. I'm really happy about that. So he told me, Janice, that house we have to fix up. It's the last one I have on. We're out of inventory. I said, what do you mean? I mean,
Really?
Detroit's half empty. He said, you don't understand. There's lots of empty houses, but they're not ready to rent. So he said, when I put up an ad to rent a house, and I rent it like this, now there's 20 other people calling me and saying, what else do you have? What else do you have? He said, so we have to get yours back on the market. After it got messed up when the tenant moves out, we got to put in the $500, get it fixed, and go get it ready. It was amazing to me. In the news, we think there's a lot of vacant homes in Detroit, but they're not ready to rent. So he's having a hard time getting inventory for the properties he's trying to rent out. You wouldn't know that unless you're connected in with that market. It's the opposite of what you'd expect from the news. So those are a couple of wholesales that I've done recently. People in California would get good cash flow out of this. Now, you do have higher taxes there, so maybe at the most 200 in taxes. You have your property management and insurance, so their cash flow is about 500 a month. So what did I figure in 2 years, they got their money back, and now they're not getting cash flow. So it's a really good cash return. Where do I find the deals? Okay, so what I encourage you to do is, if you're not going to be wholesaling right out of Santa Barbara, you can develop a relationship with wholesalers in other cities. And I've done this with students on the phone, and I've told them, okay, I started at 2 this afternoon, and by 5 o'clock when we have our call, I now have a relationship with 3 wholesalers in Atlanta. I just picked a city where I didn't know anyone and started making those calls. So of course my top one I start with is Craigslist. But Trulia has like past history, like I mentioned before, of the sales history of those individual houses. And there's a lot of other sites here, and I'll call them out, so it's on the video. HuntPads, Dot Homes, and then a couple of these I'll say, and stuff, and I'll tell you why in a second. Realtor.com, Cyber Homes. The ones that say and stuff, I have Boodle and Stuff, Backpage and Stuff, Vast and Stuff. And the reason I say that is because it's not just real estate, but people are having garage sales, they're selling furniture, they're selling baby furniture, baby clothes. And if you call them and ask them if they're interested in selling their house, sometimes that's why they're selling their stuff first. So it's a good way to talk to an owner, and you're the only one talking to them because they haven't really listed their property yet, but they're thinking about it. So I say, call the people that are getting rid of large amounts of stuff, as well as people that are actually selling their house on those. And Normo, Zip Realty is a good one. When you go in there, you can save about 3 markets, and then you'll have the agent who's in that market emailing you properties on the listing. Housing Maps is an interesting one. Housing Maps combines Craigslist and Google Maps. So it pulls the listings off Craigslist and then it maps them. With the Google Maps, you get both side by side. All these are .com, so you can add that on there. Finest Expert, I'm going to talk a little bit more about later. That's one of my favorite sites right now. It used to be called Zilpie, and it was like rental comps. And the other one is MLS and Realtor Assistant. So I don't know, how many people know what a Realtor's Assistant is? Do you know you can become a Realtor's Assistant and get MLS access that way? So that is a way to get that access. If you work with a realtor who's a friend, or befriend a realtor, how many people in the room are realtors? You can sign up as a realtor's assistant and have MLS access. Now, you can't show the home to anyone, but you get access on the internet to look up properties.
For the people that are just starting off on investing, can they become a realtor assistant and actually generate some income from doing that assistant work, or is it all volunteer?
No, it's not volunteer, but technically speaking, they cannot use their access for anything other than supporting their realtor.
Well, what I'm saying is, can they make money
They can
from the
make
realtor? Does the realtor pay the assistant by the hour or something like that? So for people that are
for the
looking,
job.
they're just starting off, looking for a way to make some money.
And learn at the same time.
There you go.
Getting paid hourly, because you're
Right.
you're assembling all types of listings and things for the realtor and helping them out. One of my
Good job.
partners
That
is a
sounds good.
broker, so we use this to look for the properties that we want to invest in. And so I'm signed up as his assistant so that I can look up the properties and make a list, and then we go look at them together. So but that's one way you can sign up as an assistant directly with your local board, so you have a login and everything. You can save all your choices and then set your. The other thing you can do is just talk to a realtor and ask them to give you a drip list. So you automatically should always have a drip list coming into your email of your criteria. Say you call a realtor in Bakersfield and say, please put me on a drip list. I want handyman special, TLC, needs work, all those keywords in this price range, and you'll get those automatic email feeds. It goes for about 6 months, and then you have to renew it again.
One more question on the assistant. You think it's possible to be an assistant for a realtor out of your town or out of state and still generate some income doing something for them somehow? Or would you
Yeah,
pretty much
there's
physically have to be there?
assistants even in India.
What's that?
There's assistants even in India.
Okay,
They're
so,
using virtual assistants to do the work, yeah.
so you could pick an area that you might eventually want to invest in and start being an assistant for a realtor in that area, even though you live in Santa Barbara.
You could assemble listings and make phone calls for them, and they pay you
Okay.
an hourly rate. It is a
Great.
good way. The comps are good on the MLS, and that's another thing to look at, and you get to see. Now, if you go to, say, Realtor.com, it's about a week lag before it shows up there. So you know a lot of good deals are snapped up in the first day, so it's good to have that access. Finest Expert is a site I'm going to show you a couple of examples from. I know the guy who started this particular website, and what they're doing is aggregating data from all the different websites and the rental data. So you look at what the house costs and what it rents for, and then they've kind of come up with an average for taxes and insurance, and it just gives you a bottom line cash flow at the bottom. He also came up with an index, like a heat map, where he tells you exactly, how good he thinks that investment is. Okay, so how do you know it's a good deal? The one thing I learned in real estate, and I was looking for deals at first, is I found out that deals were actually made. They weren't just out there, someone grabbed them. They were made by the negotiation that you have with that person, the rapport that you build, and once they know you and like you, they are more willing to sell you their house. They just want, if someone's in distress, like a homeowner who really needs to sell, they want to get that deal done with someone they know and trust. And so the deal is really made. I'm going to give you an example later of the rehab that we're doing, that I just couldn't believe how easy it had become to work with this guy, because he just wanted us to take care of his problem and do that for us. I'll tell you about using listings to get your comps. So sometimes you might get on Zip Realty, Trulia, Realtor.com, any of the free sites, and you find a house, and say it's listed for 200, and you look at the comps, and the comps are 200. They're 195, they're 205, they're 185, and you think, how could you rehab this and flip it, because you can't make any money on it? And that's a little bit of a downfall, because you don't want to use the comps that come up on that house, because the programs tend to grab the comps that are in that same price range. Okay, so what you need to do is find something nearby that has been rehabbed already, and use that as your rehab, your ARV comps. So once you find something that looks pretty run down, then I do a search, I bump up the price and do another search, and I look specifically for featured listings with a lot of pictures. Because if you just rehab a house and you think it's beautiful, you're going to put like 12 pictures on the internet instead of just one. So I just scroll down, and every time I see like 6, 12, 20 pictures, I look at those. If it's all brand new, that's then my ARV. So I can do that, say in Riverside or another part of California, and say, okay, now, if I can buy this house for $150, and here's a totally fixed up house for $250, sometimes I get lucky, and then I map it and find out they're a street or two away from each other. So you really want to look for a totally different house in a different price range, and see if you can get your ARV. Then look for the sold comps on that house that's listed. So find the house that really needs work, find another one that's totally fixed up, and it's listed, so you can't trust the price, but look for the sold comps that go with that. And I think if you're a really experienced realtor on the MLS, you're doing that too, right? That's something people don't realize, because these automatic sites just give you the comps for you, and you can't really trust those. Develop relationships with other wholesalers. This is where I said I could get on the phone right now, pick a city, and start calling people. And you don't live in a market that's cheap, but other people do. So cross-market your deals. There's probably a lot of people in Santa Barbara who would like to have a cash flowing property. Maybe they have a brother in Atlanta, so they want a tax-deductible trip. Maybe they want to go to St. Louis. Maybe they want to go to Kansas. I have a great friend who rehabs there. So I would get on Craigslist and look for houses. I'm looking for ads. I screen out all the realtor ads. I'm looking for sell by owner ads on Craigslist. Now, we don't see many of those here, but in other cities, there's quite a few. And I started calling them